can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, on the show today, security was beefed up for the Ranji Trophy game between Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir today at the city's Kotla Stadium, bringing to spotlight the ordeal everyone faces during sporting events in the country's capital. I'll tell you more on this. Dutch chess star Anish Giri, along with some others, shut down Nepomniachtchi's scathing remarks on the conditions in India and how they were responsible for his loss. Even as the voices on both sides grow, we ask, where is this stemming from, and have Indian players faced worse overseas? And Novak Djokovic wins a title in Greece and promptly withdraws from the season-ending Masters, triggering fans everywhere. Has Novak Djokovic disregarded the biggest event in the tennis calendar? What's the real story? But first, the headlines on Sports 360. We'll start with football. Turkish Association formally arrested 8 people, including a top-tier chairman in connection with the betting scandal. The Football Federation has also suspended over 1,000 players pending disciplinary investigations. Updates from the Olympics. The International Olympic Committee is still weighing on the decision surrounding transgender athletes after US President Donald Trump's supposed ban. The next Olympics will take place in Los Angeles in 2028. Various sporting bodies have already banned trans athletes from female sports. The IOC is likely to get on board with the decision. In tennis, Tunisia's former world number 1, Ons Jabeur, is expecting her first child. She will be taking an extended break. The 79th ranked player hasn't played international tennis since June 2025, when she took a break to focus on her mental well-being. On to shooting. 20-year-old Samrat Rana scripted history at the World Shooting Championships. He won India's first ever gold medal in the men's 10-meter air pistol event. The winning margin was 0.4. Rana scored 243.7. Meanwhile, India's Varun Tomar claimed bronze with a score of 221.7. And summing it up with Cricket World Cup winner Richa Ghosh will get a stadium named after her in West Bengal. The state government confirmed that a stadium will be built in Richa's hometown Siliguri. Richa was also felicitated after her historic triumph with India at the World Cup by the Bengal Chief Minister.
इसके पीछे के षड्यंत्रकारियों को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा.
It was supposed to be just another Monday evening in the heart of India's capital, New Delhi, but on November 10th, around 7 p.m. in the evening, chaos replaced calm. A massive car blast outside the Red Fort killed at least 12 people and left several injured. The blast sent shockwaves through the city and the country, and the sporting ecosystem went on high alert. Because just a few kilometers away, the Ranji Trophy match between Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir was underway at the Arun Jaitley Stadium, a venue that is some minutes' drive from the site of the explosion itself. The tension was palpable, security rushed in, the players were shaken, and for the nth time, Delhi's uneasy relationship with hosting major sporting events was exposed again. Security arrangements were beefed up overnight. The Delhi and District Cricket Association scrambled to coordinate with the police.
Security to be beefed up near Firoz Shah Kotla Stadium on the final day of the Ranji Trophy match between Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir. I would be getting in touch with Delhi police authorities and request them to deploy additional security outside the stadium premises.
This was, of course, earlier in the day, but the very fact that this had to be said in the middle of a Ranji fixture is alarming. Ironically, the cricket made headlines too, but not for the right reasons. Jammu and Kashmir beat Delhi by 7 wickets, their first win in 65 years, a historic moment, but one that got buried under fear, uncertainty and security concerns. Because this is not an isolated incident. Delhi's sporting history is riddled with chaos and poor preparedness. Let's be honest, Delhi's record as a sports host is a horrid one. Whether it's the stampede scare during Virat Kohli's Ranji comeback earlier this year, or the horrible air quality and smog suspending international matches. The capital has earned a reputation no city would want, hosting nightmares. Remember 2023, Bangladesh's World Cup practice session cancelled because of the polluted air. 2017, Sri Lankan players vomited on the field, forced to wear masks right in the middle of a test match. Ranji games have been delayed or abandoned because Delhi choked, literally. And we're not just talking about cricket here. Delhi's pollution is now globally infamous. This week alone, the air quality index was toxic.
Passing through Delhi en route to Ranchi this evening, and as always, it's hard to digest the low levels of air quality here. I'm grateful to be living in a small fishing village in South Goa.
A foreign legend publicly relieved to leave the capital. That says it all. But even beyond air and safety on the ground, it's the attitude that haunts the capital. Earlier this year, during the World Para-Athletics Championships, 2 international coaches were bitten by stray dogs inside a top multi-sporting facility. The Danish badminton star, Mia Blichfield, said she felt sick during the India Open due to Delhi's air and infrastructure issues. And who can forget the 2010 Commonwealth Games? A billion-dollar embarrassment of corruption, collapsing bridges and filthy infrastructure. The question is, when will all this change and who will be accountable for it? Because every time Delhi fails, the blame game starts. But outcome is nothing tangible or substantial. After singer Diljit Dosanjh's concert at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium last year, the venue was trashed, facilities wrecked, athletes displaced, and yet nobody took ownership and nothing concrete came out of this mishap. Authorities blamed organizers blamed event managers, and now reports suggest the same JNU stadium will be demolished, replaced by a 102-acre sports city. A world-class facility, they say, but the question remains. What's the point of a state-of-the-art stadium when the system behind it remains in a state of disarray? When Delhi chokes, when events are marred by fear and smog, when athletes feel unsafe, no architectural marvel can really fix any of this. Because the problem isn't the infrastructure, it's the indifference that comes behind it. And that indifference is costly. As India dreams of hosting the 2036 Olympic Games, the capital, once supposed to be the country's pride, is fast turning into its biggest sporting liability. Yes, of course, Ahmedabad is the proposed city for the Olympics Games, but make no mistake, the world is watching Delhi. And right now, Delhi is setting all the wrong examples. And if India seriously wants to be the powerhouse in sports, the capital should lead the way and not become the cautionary tale for an entire country. When will he is a question fans would be wondering about. This man in particular behind me, Novak Djokovic. When will Novak Djokovic decide it's time? Many will wonder with a sense of anxiety, dread and nostalgia, some with the feeling of it's about time, isn't it? The Novak haters in particular. But right now, for most, there is only anger because Djokovic has once again pulled out of the season-ending ATP Finals event, saying he's nursing an injury. And fans are unhappy. Is Djokovic wearing his own fans' patience down? Now, it's difficult, yes, of course, quitting, putting a full stop to the one thing you do and love the most. And Novak Djokovic, for his part, has given his fans decades of passion, perseverance and pulsating tennis. So the procrastination is understandable. He wants to pick and choose where he plays, what events he plays, so that he can extend his career and play for longer. That seems sensible now, doesn't it? A logical way to plan the last phase of your career. So let's look at what his calendar has been like for the last 4 years, including this one, 2025. We'll start with 2022. He played 12 tournaments. This included the season-ending finals that he won. 2023, he played 13, including the season ender, and won that as well. 2024 was the turning point of a year where the title column saw a bit of a drought, just the gold in Paris Olympics. He skipped the ATP finals this time, played 13 tournaments in this year, 2025, and has just the one title to his name, and that came moments back in Greece, just some days ago. That victory made Djokovic the oldest man to clinch an ATP title since Ken Roswell in 1977. A historic moment, yes, but after that record-breaking performance came the disappointment that Djokovic would not play the ATP finals that he had qualified for. And that's all it took for fans to let it loose. Many were upset. There was anger at why Djokovic chose a nondescript event, supposedly, over the more prestigious season-ending finals. So why is there anger? Is it justified? What is the logic to Djokovic skipping this? Let me show you the various perspectives to this one here. Now, there are a few things to note. One, of course, is the ATP final itself. It was a grueling affair, three-setter. His opponent, Lorenzo Musetti, pushed Djokovic to the brink. Djokovic himself admitted after that marathon final that it was a hard-fought one, and one that he was extremely proud of.
An incredible battle, 3 hours of a grueling match, physically. It could have been anybody's match, so congrats to Lorenzo for an amazing performance. I'm just very proud of myself to get through this one.
It's very difficult to recover that quickly from such a tiring final for Djokovic in particular, considering how the last 2 years have gone for him health-wise. Now, from one event to the next in search of his big Grand Slam win. So the next logical question would be, then why even play this particular tournament in Greece? Well, one explanation is this. The director of the Hellenic ATP event is none other than Djokovic's brother. The tournament was relocated to Greece from Belgrade just earlier this year, so there's a special reason he chose to play this one. But as far as his fans are concerned, this has come at the expense of a more prestigious and arguably the more important tournament, the season-ending ATP Finals event. A tradition that has been going on for years now, and an appointment that Djokovic has skipped second year in running. And that doesn't sit down well with fans, who are now pointing fingers at Djokovic doing this because he did not want to play Alcaraz or Sinner. Well, he can't really hide from facing these two if he intends to win that record Grand Slam title that he's gunning for, which, knowing Djokovic, is what is possibly driving him as much as the love for the sport itself. Now, Djokovic chose his calendar, and it doesn't seem to deviate too much from what the previous years look like. We showed you that. But an ATP Finals means more. It means tradition and the beauty of the best 8 in the world fighting it out. The most cherished way to cap off a calendar year. And so the question I leave you with is this: did Djokovic leave his own fans wanting, or should he put himself and his own commitments paramount? What started as an India versus the world debate has now turned into a mockery. Not of the event, but of two grandmasters who seem to be singing a completely different tune. World Blitz champion Ian Nepomniachtchi and American star Fabiano Caruana are facing massive backlash. This after questioning India's organization and conditions at the FIDE World Cup. Now let's set the board right here. This is the first time in 23 years that India is hosting the FIDE World Cup. A massive moment for a country that's now become the new powerhouse of global chess. The tournament began earlier this month and runs till the 25th of November. India's top hope Gukesh Domraju has been knocked out and some big names have fallen early. But instead of applauding the rise of new challengers, some elite players have chosen to blame everything else. First in line, Nepomniachtchi, the Russian grandmaster known for his lightning play and fiery temper, was knocked out in the second round itself and stormed out of the venue. This happened last week, checked out of his hotel, and then, of course, blamed India. Initially, his criticism was broad, conditions in India, but later he got more specific.
The big problem for me, and probably for many others, is the food. Meat isn't really available, basically just chicken. The hotel too. Even other chess players posted about it. Maxim Chigayev, for instance, showed that his 5-star hotel view was of a construction site.
So his problem was too much chicken and a bad hotel view. Right, because nothing ruins a grandmaster's focus like a construction site. And apparently the sight of chicken on your plate puts you at a strategic disadvantage. Now, to be fair, some players also mentioned the heat, but let's not forget chess isn't played outdoors. You're sitting in air-conditioned halls, not running a marathon in the humidity. We're speaking of peripheral issues here like heat, the food. Where would you rate being robbed? Has to be right up there, isn't it? That is what happened to Indian players when they traveled to Spain for a chess tournament a couple of years ago. You did not see them blaming the conditions there after what would have been a harrowing experience. Now, truth is, athletes are expected to adapt to conditions worldwide. That's what it is about. When Indian players travel to Europe or the US, they don't complain about the cold, the food, or the lack of spice. They just play. The second name in this controversy, Fabiano Caruana, except he didn't say it himself, his second did. Now, for the uninitiated, a second in chess is like a coach or assistant, someone who the player trains with. Caruana's second here claimed that other players told him there were bed bugs in hotel rooms. Not first-hand experience, not evidence, just someone told me. That's not a statement, that's a WhatsApp forward. And this is where Anish Giri came in, the Dutch Grandmaster, famous for his wit, his sarcasm, and his ability to deliver a burn with a smile, said this.
I'd be lying if I said that it was not a challenge to play in India. But it's the same the other way around. But it's fair because when I play in my cold city, there are Indians playing there and suffering without Indian food. But it was not too hot here. The food was reasonably diverse with Western dishes too, like pasta, etc. The spice level was not as high as I was fearing. Some American guy is telling us that we have bed bugs here. And they're saying that multiple sources have told them. I don't have bed bugs in my room as far as I know. Some of these things are exaggerated. Just ridiculous. You can blame everything on the second, but if you don't want to blame it on the second, you have to go with blaming other things.
Brutal honesty served with a pinch of sarcasm. That's classic Giri, and he's right. Because here's the irony. Fabiano Caruana isn't even playing the event, so his concern for players' hotel conditions feels less like a complaint or critique and more like commentary from the sidelines. Let's not forget, Caruana has had a tough time against India's Gukesh this year, losing multiple times to the teenager. So maybe this isn't about food or bed bugs, maybe it's about something else. Maybe that's really what this story here is about. It's not about the food, the hotel views, or the hotel facilities. It's about the West not wanting to give India an inch here. For decades, the power centers were Moscow, New York, Amsterdam. Now they're shifting. And some don't like that. Players like Vasily Ivanchuk and Anish Giri have praised the facilities, the hospitality, and the sheer scale of India's chess revolution. So yes, Nepomniachtchi and Caruana, correction, also his second, can complain about chicken and hotel windows, but while they do that, a new generation of Indian players are rewriting history. And the message should be this: if you can't handle the heat, maybe it's not India that needs to adjust. Time for last serve. Japan snubbed sumo wrestling for breakdancing at their iconic wrestling facility. The country did a clean sweep at the BC1 World Finals. Both the men's and women's winners were from Japan. Take a look. That wraps it up here on First Sports. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care. Bye-bye.